In today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the project I've been working on, as well as just give you an update on what I've done in the past month. If you're new here, my name is Aaron. I am a 3-time self-published author, and on this channel, I talk about the writing process, as well as document my journey towards becoming a traditionally published author. To start off, I'm just going to read you the blurb that I've been working on for the story for when I start querying, but anyway, here you go. Alice Ember, a recent college grad stuck working as a barista, has two main problems. She can't remember anything about herself, and Santa Claus is trying to kill her. In their path of destruction, two of St. Nick's mercenaries attack Alice's neighbor. Alice manages to escape, but is unable to save her neighbor and ends up covered in blood and running from the law. To avoid capture by a mysterious 3-letter government agency, Alice is forced to rely on the help of her new friend Esther, a self-proclaimed fairy. Esther discovers Alice's memories have been stolen by one of the most powerful entities in the country. To track down the memory thief, Alice must dive headfirst into the cruel and twisted reality of fairies, which is anything but a wonderland. The two women bend space and time on their quest to unravel the truth about Alice's identity before Santa kills her. That's the gist. As I said, it's not a perfect little blurb, but it gets the point across. In a lot of ways, the story is very similar to The Boys, except with American folklore instead of superheroes. So you have the bad guy side where there's these worship, these really great people, except they're actually super evil. So like Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and others. I don't want to spoil too much if you're watching this. Obviously, it's going to spoil some of it. And I don't know if you'll ever even read this, but if you do, I don't want to give too much away. And for the good guys, you have other kind of like lesser type people. So Jack Frost and Paul Bunyan and Johnny Appleseed, that sort of like just this like ragtag sort of like the B team of American folklore. And they're like the underdogs trying to essentially like lead the rebellion against these suppressive evil people. So the main character of the story, Alice, is named after Alice in Wonderland, and in a lot of ways there's many parts of this that are an homage or whatever to that, so there's a Vorpal sword, there's a Jabberwocky, there's a Jub bird, all these more through the looking glass, but that's not important. You can probably see back here my cat is going absolutely psycho, even though it's 2 hours until he's supposed to be getting fed. Hey, dude. Yeah, he doesn't care. Like most debut books, I'm writing this as a standalone with series potential. So the main plot wraps up really nicely with kind of a ooh moment at the end. And in my mind, I see it as like 3 books to tell the whole story. But again, it does wrap up pretty nicely. So I can talk more about that later as I keep working my way through the second draft. In January, I made a lot of progress. I'm about 25,000 words into the second draft of this. If you watched my writing roadmap for the year, you know that I'm a little teeny tiny bit behind, which is sometimes difficult because it's like, no, like I set this goal. I really want to reach this goal in this set amount of time period. But at the same time, I try to remind myself that I am still making progress. I'm not on a deadline by any means, and it's more important to have a good product and not go absolutely insane rather than rush to get it finished and it kind of be a shit project manuscript that ends up needing even more revisions anyway. And I had some family in town, it was someone's birthday, and so all this, not to make excuses, but it's just like life happens, life gets in the way, life is the priority. And so sometimes writing has to take a little bit of a backseat. Another thing that happened, which has been affecting my word count, is about a week ago, we got a dog, another dog, out of nowhere. He's like 8 years old, from a shelter, really sweet boy, but he and the kitty have not super been getting along, so we're working on that. It's improving a lot, but that has taken a lot of my mental focus and whatnot in the past month. Also, I made a short little skit video every day in January, so I'm hoping, without doing that in February and onward, my word counts are going to be much higher. Anyway, February is also turning out to be look a little bit more busy than I intended, but I'm still hoping to be on track to have the second draft finished by the end of April. The biggest changes I've made so far when working on the second draft is, one, I combined some characters. So there was the neighbor who gets killed by Santa Claus's mercenaries, basically. And then you also have the owner of a climbing gym that Alice, the main character, goes to. And they both served a little bit of important roles, but ultimately I decided it's better to just put them into the same person and streamline it that way. So it's not just like, oh, here's the neighbor. Oh, she died. Like, okay, no. So now they have a more important role, and they're not just like getting propped up to get knocked down to be like, oh, now I'm motivated to do good things. I've also introduced a pretty major plot point much earlier on, and it's going to play a significant role in the book. And I knew about this in the first draft, but it wasn't until maybe halfway through that I realized how much more of a big role this has to play, and how big it needs to be. And again, without getting too spoilery, the gist is that there is children going missing all across America, and that gets introduced in chapter 1 now, and with a personal connection to the main character. So again, hopefully it just makes it that much more impactful. It gives her a reason to make choices that will drive the plot forward, instead of just being something that kind of happens in the background a little bit. It is really important to the overall story. But now hopefully it is ingrained more with the protagonist's intentions and motivations. So that was another big change I made. The third biggest change I've made, again, only about 25% through the book, because going for about 100,000 words, is there's a couple scenes that, not that they fell flat necessarily before, but I found a couple really good opportunities to increase the tension and increase the stakes at certain points. So there's one point where she's hiding in the alley because the police are after her. So I dove into that a little bit more and increased the tension where they're right here and they don't see her because she's curled up hiding in cardboard boxes. And then I also had an opportunity to introduce a little bit of her magic use at that point. As she's, it's kind of like freaking out. She's like, "Oh, just look ahead, just look ahead." She's focused on this lamp. And then the lamp just shatters and explodes. At the moment, of course, she doesn't know it's her. She barely knows that she's Fae and doesn't know how to use magic yet. But later it's revealed that, this is part of her powers, and she had formed a mana tether with that, and that's what the overload of energy caused it to explode. I've also added a little bit more foreshadowing for a major kind of betrayal, or the first plot twist, sort of. It's more foreshadowing and more of something is amiss, but we don't know what it is. So I've added another layer of that, and kind of a creepiness factor. There's this person who you think is really wholesome and great. She doesn't swear, she loves baking and all this stuff. And then there's a very culty type shrine room with posters and the eyes cut out and candles, wax melting everywhere, that kind of thing. So introduce that just at a glance, and then the main character kind of blinks, and then it's oh no, it's just a normal room. No, I don't know what your vision's messing with you or something. So that's kind of where I'm at. This video is a little bit different than what I've posted so far, but I think it is also important to give my own writing updates, because again, this is, as much as it is for you watching, it is for me creating this to document my writing journey towards becoming a traditionally published author. And if you're interested in checking out 3 books that I found super helpful as a new writer, check out this video here.